Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome. You made it to the end of the week. And for those that don't know me, my name is Mike Gelman, and I am an author, a coach, and have my own business, High Five Career Coaching. And I'm here to share some current news with you today, kind of discuss some current news with you, as well as share some uh, and answer any questions that you may have. So, about the workplace dynamics, politics, as a leader, managing your people, keeping them engaged, managing remotely, as a job seeker, maybe you're laid off or furloughed and you're looking for something else, whatever it may be. So I'm here to be a resource for you. So feel free to reach out to me. Even if you're watching the replay, you can add something in the comments below, and I'll respond. Usually, I respond pretty quickly within the day for sure. All right, so I want to talk to you all about a couple things. One is that this article in the LA Times today. It's called Bosses Need Love Too. That's so 2020. And this is a column written by David Lazarus in the LA Times. And he's citing this study that's by this Maureen Ambrose out of University of Central Florida. And it's about appreciation for bosses. And he's kind of railing on it. But the essence of the study was that it showed that bosses who receive appreciation from their employees that report to them tend to show more appreciation for their employees. And kind of goes on in the sense of how, bosses are, have needs too. And now this particular author's take on this is basically he kind of derides the notion that bosses need the appreciation or kind of they're the victims and all of that, and goes on that he doesn't feel that they merit special treatment and for doing something they're supposed to do. Do you guys agree with that? So chime in. Do you agree with that? And so, uh, something to be mindful of. Oh, he also talks about Larry Ellison moving to Hawaii while his company is moving to Texas, and he's going to lead the company remotely from Hawaii via Zoom. Why would he use Zoom? I thought Oracle. Oh, that's Cisco. I'm thinking of has WebEx. Oracle does not. So he's going to be doing it by Zoom. So really, really interesting. And what else? The study was published in the Journal of Management, so peer-reviewed journal. And the conclusion was that when bosses experience support from their underlings, they feel more energized, which translates into better job performance, right, for them. And I think I was just going to actually write a blog article about bosses and their needs. So it's interesting that this was in today's, not this particular take on it, but what's interesting is I've been coaching a lot of leaders lately who take on a lot of responsibility and they've signed up for it, they know it. Many of them, though, are struggling. And so many of these are at the director level, at the VP level, even. And one of the themes that I'm hearing is the lack of appreciation for what they've been able to achieve and accomplish. Now, they're not necessarily, the ones I'm coaching aren't necessarily looking for that to come from their employees. So let me make that clear, is they make every effort. If anything, many of these leaders put their employees before them. And so so this isn't a broadcast of trash leaders and anything like that. If anything, it's the opposite. So these are leaders who actually put their team before themselves, so much so that their own needs aren't being met. And what are those needs? Well, for some of them, it's a promotion, like someone on the front line would want. It's like, okay, what's the next level? For others, it's a form of acknowledgement or appreciation, which is oftentimes behind the promotion desire. It's because they see that as a form of acknowledgement or appreciation. Now, some people want the promotion because they want more influence, right? So they want to be able to contribute to the organization in an expanded way or in a different way. And it doesn't mean it's an inline promotion. It could be a job in another business unit or something like that. But it's really the opportunity to kind of flex their muscles, exercise their talents, and to grow, to be challenged. So many of a few of the executive clients that I'm working with right now aren't feeling very challenged. And if you know executives, they tend to be competitive generally. I mean, it takes a certain level of competitiveness, right, to an ambition to want to rise to that level. And there's certainly cases of executives that have just that's just kind of happened, right? They weren't seeking that out. And that includes some that I'm coaching now as well. But in all, there's generally a competitive aspect. And so many are looking for a challenge, right? They're looking for kind of what's another challenge, right? And so it may be a lateral move, right? That could offer the challenge, just learning a whole nother part of the business, assuming this is like a large company we're talking about. And so I'm sharing this with all of you, particularly because most of you who are watching are probably mid-level leaders or possibly just, frontline employees, right? Where you're working at the local um, Target or Starbucks, or maybe you are an engineer, right? Kind of with the Amazons or the Googles or whatnot, or a program manager or a teacher or whatnot. So whatever level you're at. So it's really all relative. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that, and back to this article, yeah, bosses are people too, and while there is an aspect of it where they just kind of need to suck it up, if they're not getting enough, right? And set the example. Excuse me. At the same time, I believe if their needs are fulfilled, then they're going to show up better, right? And there's different ways to get those needs fulfilled. Same thing for anyone else that I coach. When your needs are filled, then you can express yourself in the best way possible. When they're not, what tends to happen? Well, we tend to get into unhealthy or unconstructive behaviors, blaming others, raising our voice, withdrawing altogether, right? Being absent. So a lot of these things aren't very helpful. And so what should an employee do with respect to their boss? And some people say, well, I shouldn't have to kiss my boss's butt. Right? That's been going on for generations, right? And what else has been going on for generations is employees brown nosing, right? I'm not even sure if that's the best term for it, but a lot of employees just extolling platitudes on their boss, and some would question the sincerity with that, right? that there's an ulterior motive for that. So I think it all starts with being authentic to yourself. There are ways to do it. I've had conversations with bosses of mine. They're just from the heart. Like, hey, I really appreciate the way you look out for us. For example, and give them an example. Or, I thought you really presented well, in that meeting. I thought you represented the team really well in that meeting. And then because, X, Y, and Z. So that's a way to make it a little more authentic, is to not just share the headline, but to share a little bit about the why. What was it specifically? Right? And that's just really strong feedback to give to anyone, is to be as specific as possible. And then it's not as much fluff or just kissing butt. It's actually providing some substance to the compliments. And that helps inform your boss as well as a peer or a direct report on what they're doing right and what you'd like to see more of. I mean, you could from a selfish standpoint, right? It helps inform them of how you'd like to be led, and it allows you to do your best work. So I'm not sure I completely disagree with the author. I get his point for sure. And there is a point where some go too far. There are some leaders right now in the public space who kind of have this woe is me victim mentality, which, is kind of a cop out in many cases if it's a harassment claim that they're responding to or something like that, or abuse of power or something, because they actually have, it's not equal, right? They have influence, they have control over the outcome of the organization or people that report up to them. So it's not necessarily legitimate grievance, in my view, for leaders to do the woe is me card. However, they do have pressures that others don't have, right? There's a sense of enormous responsibility, for example, to make sure the business is a going concern. One of the stressors that business leaders I coach have is they feel responsibility to their employees, and they don't want to let people go. They don't want to lay people off. And so there is an enormous amount of stress. And sometimes all they hear is all the griping from employees. And I can certainly understand why they might appreciate some appreciation, right? Like sometimes people don't realize how hard they're working to keep a business going and keep everyone on board. So that's where I'm at with that, right? And I think it's kind of somewhere in that continuum, right, of total lack of appreciation, and we shouldn't have to at all, to kissing someone's butt and not being sincere and it just being all politics, right? I think there's a kind of plenty of room in the middle, in between, to do that. So the other thing I want to mention and announce is I have a new website, which I invite you to check out. I would love to get your feedback on the website. And I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Yeah, it'd be great to get feedback on the website for those of you that watch. Really appreciate it. And you can leave the feedback in the chat part for Facebook and LinkedIn. You can also just direct message me. So either way, that would be great. So that's what I've got for today. Enjoy the holidays. I will not be broadcasting I will be broadcasting on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. It'll be the final broadcast, final official broadcast for this year. I'm going to be taking some vacation after that. Not really going anywhere, but just some downtime to plan for 2021, and just kind of tie up the year and take care of things, and as well as just some R&R with my son, and looking forward to doing that. So with that, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.